There are basic amenities needed in this country, and health should be number one.
The trending case of our former Deputy Senate President, Senator Ekweremadu, over the kidney transplant issue in the UK and all of its details trending on social media and every news platform globally has caught the eye of the public with different opinions about the very case in particular. With me on set to discuss this is Dr. Chidi Peters. Please, you're welcome on set again.
Thank you very much.
It's always good to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So when you got this information, the first time it got to you, how did you receive it? Were you surprised or were you disappointed, or did you feel a little bit of shame because you're also in Nigeria and this is being spoken about one of your senators representing the constituency in this great nation? What was the first reaction to this information?
Well, first of all, it's very, very unfortunate that my respected uncle found himself in this kind of situation. And of course, as a father, there's no way you allow your child to die. The prayer of the average Igbo man is always, let my children bury me, not me bury my children. So that also gets to say that he cannot just sit back and watch his own child die of kidney issue, where people seem to have come forward to provide a solution on how the child will survive. So common sense as a human being also have to tell him to take action before the child dies, and of course the female child. So several solutions were coming from friends and well-wishers on how possible best to get the child well. But unfortunately, it is ending the way it is ending. Very unfortunate situation, very sad, very regrettable that the senator of Nigeria, my respected uncle, is finding himself in this kind of situation. Of course, that also gets to tell us back here that beyond following his legal process of his prosecution in London, our politicians should also think towards learning a lesson from what is going on. The lesson is, it is high time they come back home and see how to fix Nigerian hospitals. They should stop using hospitals in Europe, hospitals in the Western world as a tourism center, where in Nigeria such things can be afforded. It's only UBTH, University of Benin, that have issue of dialysis, have a kidney transplant and so on and so forth. I think one was done in UBTH sometime years ago, and of course removal of kidney and so on and so forth, UBTH in Benin. And of course University of Lagos, also no far-fetched in terms of also having some professional cardiologists and all kinds of medical experts in that regard. Of course, you have the almighty University Hospital, Enugu, who are also doing very wonderfully well. So this also brings them to bear that it is high time they should begin to look inwards into equipping some of these hospitals to be of the same standard that they have there. It is only in Nigeria that you see some medical doctors, doing surgery with torchlights without electricity. That is sad. Yeah. So, the facility to do these things, they are in the market. So they should go out there and see how to bring this facility in Nigeria, bring experts to tutor our Nigerian doctors so that those things can be handled here. Apart from Ekweremadu, my brother, we have hundreds of Nigerian youths that are dying of kidney issues every day, that are dying of liver failure every day, that are dying of hepatitis every day, and they have no help coming from anywhere. We heard about Ekweremadu's own because he's a senator and he has the wherewithal. What about those who are dying? And government is not even looking their way to see how to subsidize the rate of this surgery for them to get it. Some of them have early dictation of this kidney, but because there's no money to continue the process, they die of it. Doing kidney operation, removal or replacement is not a problem, but the sustenance after the surgery is always the issue. So Nigerian government and the Senators and House of Rep have to look into some of this chronic disease that takes away our young ones in their prime. by trying to subsidize this rate, and also for them to come back home and see how to equip Nigerian hospitals so that our Nigerian hospital can be a tourist center of the world power. We learned it before that the king of Saudi Arabia and Morocco used to come to Nigeria for medical checkups, but now they don't come. So now
it's deteriorating.
The visuals, whenever they have headache, they fly out. They even fly out to go and rest. They fly to go and have their meetings. What happened to Nigeria? Does it mean that the common man should die because it's common?
Anyways, now before I'll come to you on that part, because it's a different topic on its own, where we want to talk about the senators and the different the House of Reps and different government officials taking responsibility. They actually can't take responsibility if they're not being held accountable for it. So that comes down to the grassroots where they have been elected. So because whenever they spend those 4 years there and they come back without doing absolutely nothing or little, they still go back to these same people who they've disappointed for 4 years, and these same people still come back again for peanuts to put them back in office. So it's a two-way thing. Same way someone needs to be responsible, others need to take up initiative to hold them responsible, to be accountable for their actions. But before I come back to that, I also want to look at the perspective of the crime here, right? It's whether the person was done in the UK or done in Nigeria. I think from the reports, from the facts we have so far on the case, it's the crime against the young man who had to leave. All right, who had to leave. So there were some transplant laws that were not obeyed, like informing the donor and letting the donor know all the details and involved in everything. You know, if it were to be in Nigeria, I can put it to you that would have gone unchecked or would have been swept under the carpet. Would that have made it legal? Would that have made it right? So what do you think about the process of which he went after saving his daughter's life? Not just the act of saving the daughter's life, and not just because he did it in the UK. What if the hospitals in Nigeria were equipped? The process which he went through with it. That is one. Then when you're done with that, I'd like you to also address the fact that these guys, they need to be held accountable. If we have professionals, we recently saw a lot of doctors leaving the country to other countries where they'll be more useful. That's because our system, we find presidents, governors, all these guys you're talking about, they all have access to developed countries where they just go for treatments for their and their family. So it will never affect the grassroots. So it's the grassroots who need to take it to them and say, okay, we are demanding this from you. Because if, for instance, Kanwako had Heart Foundation, he knew he had the challenge and he took out resources, he got investors, and it came to be. Do you understand? So if other people will take initiative and start up these processes, I think it's something that will be more beneficial to Nigeria, to the country at large. So I need to address this to
a quick one.
React to them, please.
The issue about this Imatha is, number one, you cannot just sit back and watch your child die. And of course, Ekweremadu is a medical doctor. He consulted the doctor about the matter, and doctor said this is the matter, and he said, how best do we solve this solution? And remember, in the court proceeding, the court says that the man have done it before. So there's nothing wrong in approaching the person and say, how were you able to do it before? He has confidence in the doctor. He trusted the doctor to go ahead. So if there are other laws guiding the process, the doctor should have been in the position to let him know. But at the same time, don't rule away the Nigerian factor of sharp, of cutting corners, which run in our bloodstream in Nigeria. And Nigeria is where we believe, instead of going straight to where you're going to do a shortcut, you take the shortcut. So that could be the implication of what has landed this man into the problem. But at the same time, the medical doctor was only interested in the money to collect.
Exactly.
And remember, some of our boys do this thing every day without people knowing. But there was no confidentiality in this matter.
Yeah, there was none. Because
if it is not political, there's no reason why the medical doctor would disclose the identity of the person that he wants to donate kidney to. Though in the proceeding they say that they want to establish a relationship that as a first cousin. You know, the girl calling him and things like that and things like that. But at the same time, it has happened, it has happened.
That was still a crooked move.
It has happened, it has happened. It's a Nigerian factor. And of course, if they are talking about Nigeria, there's nobody in Nigeria that will do something for you free of charge. whether it's your brother or your uncle, you must bring transport money.
There's exceptions to that.
You must bring transport money. So if money have exchanged hand to take the boy abroad, it's part of Nigerian factor. It's not only police that collect bribe. We collect bribe in our respective ways. Where your guy will say, go and buy me something in the XYZ, so that the transport is not inside this money. When you know that you can track it.
Yeah.
So these are part of the exercise. So it has happened, it has happened. So what we're now looking at, the federal government should now begin to look at how to solve this issue with diplomacy.
What the accountability of these reps and government officials by the grassroots?
The accountability is what I have said before, where a lot of them were giving money to put structures in their domain, in their constituencies, and they said to pocket the money. And of course, the cry of the old woman whose son died of malaria because there's no hospital can be a karma. The child of a poor farmer who died because of kidney problem and because there's no hospital to take him to, when someone has collected money for the hospital, of course that cry will reach heaven. So these are part of the implication.
Yeah, but that is heaven. But I'm talking about here on earth. No, I'm talking about the cry. Those who would champion that cry. How many Nigerians will boldly come out to say, this is a measure of injustice with my level, with my capacity in this country, even though it's just at a very minimal level, let me champion this cry to right all the wrongs, to right all the mishaps in the country. Most people wouldn't come out.
Nigeria is where
so that's why they continue to thrive in these injustices.
Nigeria is where our leaders spend more money in politics than bringing in social amenity to the public, like hospitals and roads. Now, the federal government just realized that they have spent $400 billion in terms of rural electrification. You begin to wonder, where are the rural electrification? The ones that they have given in the city, do they have light? The answer is no. So, but if it is politics, that is only where we spend our billions and billions. But I can tell you, there are some communities in this country that don't have hospitals, that have to travel miles to get a small cottage hospital. But that's the truth about the matter. So Nigerian government don't look into it. Even the hospital in the Asoro Villa is not even functional to the maximum listen. That is why our president, the vice president, and all the elites now travel abroad for medical tourism. Why don't we come back home and fix ours? Nigeria is roughly 60 years old. Now we cannot be proud to mention one single hospital that is functional. Imagine a story where a man said that he brought his son here and healthy to take injection. After taking injection, the child died. A story of a man whose son died, was brought to hospital with a minor sickness. The son died. The man had to go and bring machetes.
I grew up seeing a particular doctor who accidentally injected his own her own children, and they became paralyzed till date.
These are the things.
Yeah, two of them was matter of fact. So the health sector is.
Nigeria should go beyond political rhetorics. Nigerian people should go beyond electionary manifestos. They should come back and face reality on ground. There are basic amenities needed in this country, and health should be number one.
Education and health.
Of course.
All right.
Should be prioritized.
Yeah, it should be prioritized. All right. Dr. Peter said it's a lesson to each and every one of us, and also for us to fight the Nigerian factor of shortcuts and cutting corners. And it also goes along with to reaching out to each and every one of us to lend the voice to those who need a voice to speak out, to cry aloud where injustices thrive. So that when cases like this come up, where the senators and House of Reps, legislators, the governors are not meeting what they promised or what is expected of them, we shouldn't just cower away and just believe things will just change by themselves. We should hold them accountable, especially when they are coming back to campaign and so on. All right, and well, however this case goes, we'll keep you guys up to date as we proceed, even though it's already been concluded in court, but we still believe there might be some other channels that might be explored by the defendants. All right, so from Dr. Chidi Peters, any final words?
Well, this is Noble TV Live. Subscribe, share, comment, call.
All right, you heard Dr. Chidi Peters. Please like, share, drop your comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.